Right, guys. I wasn't originally planning to do a video, particularly about this. My next video was gonna be the revisiting STFC Manager series, the Sam Allardyce one, but that will be coming later in the week. I didn't. I originally planned to have that up either today or tomorrow. At the time of recording, it's Monday evening. But this lovely Charlie Methven interview is it's made me want to clear a few things up. And this video is probably not going to be very good. It's probably going to be a bunch of rambling on, but hopefully, at the very least, it's going to be entertaining for those who like to laugh at someone. So, right, basically, Charlie Methven did an interview recently. I can't remember whoever the publication it was or whatever media outlet it was, but basically he decided to spin a narrative that Sunderland fans have, the last 5 owners apparently, they've hounded them out and have looked for them to sell the club, and basically kind of implied that Sunderland fans are very expectant and delusional and all that malarkey garbage that's really not true, to be honest. But anyway, look, this is just going to be me kind of responding to that, because the narrative that has been bombarding Sunderland fans ever since we've dropped into League One, because we dare to get out of the 3rd division, which, as I've said before, history and people who are criticising me, listen to the following words. I am not saying that history or where we've been or anything you want to wins us promotion on its own. It doesn't. Of course, we have every right. We have got to earn the right to get promoted the same way that most of the clubs did. Look at that. Coventry, Rotherham. Both of them deserve to go much more than we did. Peterborough, who missed out on the playoffs through this points per game system, deserve to go way more than what we did. At the end of the day, we weren't showing enough. Doesn't mean I think the team wasn't good enough, but they weren't showing enough. We didn't deserve to go up anyway. But nevertheless, not really the point of this video. So the point is, this narrative, though, that seems to spin again, and quite a lot of, and I've seen some non-Sunderland fans in League One that have been really, really pleasant with me, but some of them have talked utter garbage. Some of them really don't know what they're talking about. So I had a couple of comments saying on the last video, and to be honest, anyone who puts comments like this, I'm deleting them, because I'm not having them on this channel, because I'm sick to death of it. These people do not know what they're talking about when it comes to Sunderland. Now, if you look at it, Sunderland have only been in League One, the 3rd tier of English football, including the season that's still going, and I'm going to say this season because the playoffs are still yet to be played. They've only been in this division for 3 years out of 141 years of history. Let me repeat that. 3 seasons out of 141 years of history. Okay, so it is true on some level. Now, I can only speak for myself with the last 2 owners, which is obviously Ellis Short and Stuart Donald / Charlie Methven, but mostly Stuart Donald. Ellis Short, yes, towards the end of his reign, we did want him to sell the club, and yeah, probably a lot of us were handing him out, but there was good reason for that. You can say Ellis Short cared all this all malarkey, and yeah, he wrote off the debt, which is something that he didn't have to do, but again, I've said my opinion on it. Sean Middleton disagrees with me, absolutely fine. There are people that agree with Sean, people agree with me, that's it. We're just never going to agree on that. Short, at the end of the day, did clear the debt, but he also let Sunderland, who's got one of the biggest stadiums in the country, is one of the biggest clubs in the country, truth be told. Again, you can say 6 league titles in our history, we've won 2 FA Cups, we've finished 7th in the Premier League twice. Now, again, that doesn't guarantee anything, but, the narrative was, for the last 10 years that we were in the Premier League, our relegation was coming. Oh, does that mean we were supposed to accept the garbage that David Moyes, who's supposed to be a good manager, by the way, there was no excuse for that appointment not to have worked. You're telling me we were supposed to have accepted that? When the players clearly were bottling it and clearly were not trying hard enough, and by the way, I watched us regularly. They did not try that season. I don't want anyone trying to tell me otherwise, because they didn't try, and they know they didn't try. For a lot of them, like Lamin Kone, Adnan Januzaj, just 2 examples off the top of my head. David Moyes definitely didn't try what he had. I'm sorry. You can say, "Oh, it was coming." Yeah, I'm sorry. No, that's ridiculous. I'm not having that narrative being pointed at me, because we shouldn't have to accept that. I made it very vocal when we were in the Premier League that I was not happy with just settling for 4th bottom all the time. Don't come at me with that. Anyway, the next point. We're not demanding. We're actually, contrary to what people like to think, we're actually not that demanding. If you look at anyway, so towards the end of Ellis Shaw's reign, the point was we went from the Premier League to League One within 2 years. At the end of the 16-17 season, we were a Premier League club, albeit a relegated one, but we were a Premier League club. At the start of 2018-19, we were in League One. Come on. Do me a favour. And as I've said many times, Dino off SCFC Fan TV disagrees, and that's fair enough, but I respect his opinion, even though I strongly disagree with it. I don't care. That team should have stayed in the Championship. There's absolutely no way that team should have got relegated. You say, even I think if Robin Wright had stayed in the team regularly enough, I think we would have stayed up. You have Adam Matthews, Lamine Coney, Tyus Browning, Brian Oviedo, Lee Cattermole, Didier Ndong, Callum McManaman, Aidan McGeady, Lewis Graben, a host of other players off the top of my head that I'm not even thinking of. You know, there were players in that squad that were good enough to stay up. And to be honest, Sunderland fans were too patient. And this is not a dig at Sunderland fans. It was apathetic. It was completely apathetic. And we have put up with so much more than what a lot of clubs in the Premier League have claimed that they have, contrary to what people like to believe. We had one. Name me another club across the English Football League, across the top four English leagues, that would put up as much as what we did with one home win in the calendar year of 2017. One home win. One. Do me a favour, lads. Come on. And you look at it. Apart from Liverpool, the two Manchester clubs and Tottenham, really, not one decent team, really, when you think about it, came to the Stadium of Light in 2017. Now, a lot of teams, were they better than us? Yeah, of course they were. But it doesn't mean, but come on, one home win, especially when we were in the Championship for half of it as well. Do me a favour. Not good enough. But so we wanted Shorthouse, and for the right reasons. We were slipstreaming towards League One. We were sliding down towards League One, and didn't really actively look like we were bothered about it. We didn't look like we were bothered about it. Sunderland fans were far too patient then, to be honest. We should have done more of a protest. And it's not a dig at Sunderland fans. Sunderland fans are some of the best fans in the country. I know you can say this about any club, but I'm only speaking from a Sunderland fan. We sell out almost every single away game. We've had between 25 to 30,000 attendances in League One, and anyone can say, look at the fact that when you were in the Championship, you didn't have that many highs. Well, because at the time it was the worst. It was one of the worst seasons in our entire history. We were getting taken up the backside week in, week out. And to find anyone who would have been to those games to have a different opinion. Because, I'm sorry, if anyone went to those games, especially at home in the Championship, they wouldn't be saying that. Pure and simple. And ever since we've got into League One, it's really, to be honest, the last two seasons have been the first couple of seasons I've seen Sunderland fans really be saying, no, we're not having it. We're not having mediocrity. We rightly expect to get promoted out of League One. And it's not just Sunderland in League One who expect to go up. Peterborough, you could say, for the last 2 years, should be expecting to go up. Portsmouth, Rotherham, Coventry, even Bolton the last couple of years. It's embarrassing that Bolton are in League Two. And Bolton fans should expect to win League Two next season, or at least get promoted. Next season, I don't want anyone glossing over this, next season we expect to get promoted. Whether people think it's going to happen or not, I don't care. I'm sick of saying, it probably won't happen. No, make it happen. Far too long, this club has underachieved with the fan base, stadium, facilities and history that it's got. And again, that does not guarantee you anything. It doesn't give you the right to go and win anything. What it should do, however, is set expectations. Where has this narrative come from all of a sudden that we're not allowed to have expectations? Like I've said before, I'll even bring up our lovely neighbours up the road, Newcastle. Well, do you honestly think when they were in the Championship under Rafa Benitez that their attitude would have been, we need to remember where we are, so therefore we can't expect to get promoted? Bore off, man. Come on. They rightly would expect to win the league or at least get promoted. Newcastle went, and you've got to earn the right, of course you have, but Newcastle are far too big a club for the Championship. Far too big. And we are, in my opinion, truth be told, but we're a long way off from the Championship yet, and that's embarrassing. I could have tolerated being in the Championship for a few years and rebuilding, but as long as the ultimate end game was to get back to the Premier League. We can't afford to languish in League One. We can't. And while we're in League One, we're going to point to it as a massive failure if we don't go up. Now again, I've said in the past, I honestly did believe Stuart Donald and Charlie Methven came in and had a lot to sort out from the previous regime in 1819. And that's not me being blind or stupid or anything. And I'm done with trying to cheat with people. People are just going to have to accept my opinion on it or either unsubscribe or unfollow me on Twitter because I'm sick of getting I'm sick of getting called out on it. I'm done with it. I'm not putting up with it anymore. But the point is, I think they came in and had to have a lot to do in 1819. And to be honest, at this point, I don't have the animosity towards Stuart Donald that a lot of Sunderland fans do. And they have every right to have any animosity towards him if they want to. That's their prerogative and their opinion. I'm not going to try and change theirs as long as people are respectful of mine and don't try and change mine. But I don't have the animosity towards him, but I've said I think the club's too big for Stuart Donald, unfortunately. But so again, with Charlie Methven, don't you dare put this narrative out there that Sunderland fans or imply a narrative that Sunderland fans are entitled, because really we're not. And any other fan in League One that thinks we're entitled, get lost. Don't just get lost. I'm done with this. I'm going to be deleting any comments on this video about this because I'm sick of seeing stuff like this. Sunderland fans are not delusional or entitled for expecting to go out of League One. If we were entitled, we'd be expecting to sign Premier League and Championship players in League One, but we're not. The players we're mentioning that we want Sunderland to sign are appropriate for the league that we're in. That's not delusional. That's not arrogant. And it definitely shouldn't be unrealistic either. There's nothing wrong with setting expectations. And people really need to stop confusing the two, because I'm getting driven insane by it. To be honest, I'm getting mentally driven insane by it. Again, like a really random case out there. Again, I've said before, if Portsmouth, for example, went in the National League, Portsmouth fans would have every right to expect to win the league or at least go up. It doesn't mean don't have to earn the right. Of course they do. Like I said, if we want to get promoted out of League One, we've got to earn the right the same way anyone else does. But Sunderland being in League One is like Everton or Man United being in the Championship. And yeah, people can hurl abuse at me all they want for that. I don't care. It's the closest thing to an actual analogy, the way to actually get people to understand it. At the end of the day, we feel Sunderland should not be in League One. Our fans have put up with enough for too long, and it's about time this stupid narrative that we're entitled comes to an end. Sorry that I'm pissed off, guys. I love yous and leave yous. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.